Camilo dijo, yo soy holandés, mi español más o menos para temas técnicos no sé si alcanza mis habilidades de español, entonces quería cambiar a inglés. ¿Alguien que lo ponga? So are we good? Yeah. Please, if there's anything unclear, raise your hand immediately and I'll try to clarify immediately. Don't wait until the end. Okay, so yeah, I wanted to talk about the road to dark mode. Sorry, I have my clicker here. Dark mode was introduced just over a month ago at WWC 18. I was there with my colleague Charles. Charles was actually in the keynote where it was introduced. It's going to be available starting in macOS Mojave, and it's a setting that the user can pick from system preferences. And well, it is on macOS. It's not on iOS. So this is not macOS love. This is iOS love. So why am I talking about dark mode? Because I think maybe it will come to iOS later. I hope. And well, why not? Because we've all been here late at night in bed with a sea of light, maybe waking up the person next to you. There is a couple of mysterious apps that were introduced for macOS Mojave that shut up. Sorry. Yeah. That well, nobody needed these apps on macOS, but Apple did it anyway, and it later turned out that this is some prototyping for a new framework that they're doing to bring iOS apps to macOS. If macOS already has dark mode, iOS is probably going to follow at some point. So I wanted to talk about the road to dark mode, preparing for dark mode for when it does come to iOS. Let's talk about dark mode a little bit. Why? These are Apple's words. It looks cool, slick, professional, futuristic, beautiful, etc. It just looks cool. It's awesome. Okay. Also, in addition, it's also it will bring out the content of your application rather than the Chrome around it, which helps with focus and attention, and for several kinds of applications, it will more faithfully reproduce the colors to let you work. There's a lot of professional apps that already use dark Chrome around their content since a very long time ago. Many of our applications that we use as developers and engineers already have dark styles and dark themes, etc. Xcode, for example, like the default, I think is a light theme, but it's easily switched to a dark theme, and there's plenty of people using that. In fact, I would like to know, like, who among you is using light or dark? Let's raise your hands for like default light or any other style that maybe you customize that falls into the light category. I use light. Am I really the only one? Oh, there's a couple. All right, and dark, basically everybody. So I'm sure that a lot of you are very happy about dark mode coming. I really dislike having dark content in a light Chrome around it. Like the light Chrome around it distracts me from the content. But of course, if dark mode is a new thing, then this suddenly immediately looks a lot more attractive. The people who like raise their hands for light mode, the light style, would you switch to this if this is the if everything can be dark? Yeah. I would, at least maybe at nighttime I would do this. During the daytime I would stick to light mode, etc. let's talk a little bit more about dark mode. It's not just simply inverting the colors. There's a whole bunch of stuff that you need to like take into extra consideration. Images and glyphs may require redesigns. They're not maybe where they were previously outlines. Now they become solid shapes, etc. Accent colors remain similar, but like your text and selection colors, like usually blue, remain similar. So you have to take into account, well, if I select something in the selection, like white text on blue selected, on a blue selected item is still going to be white text on a blue selected item. That's not inverted. Controls, when you click them, they're going to get brighter instead of darker. And windows retain shadows and get a light edge. Stuff is not just black, it's dark, but they're still like darker for shadows and to create depth in your interface, etc. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that we, or at least our designers, need to worry about. I'm not going to go very far into that. These WWC sessions are really great. So let's talk a little bit about how it works. And I'm going to do that with a demo. Ignacio, could you?
Yeah.
Thank you. So let's start here. I have a very simple macOS app. It's the simplest app. It's just basically no code at all. This is Xcode 9.4.1. If I run my app here, it is just light. It's a light Chrome in, but my OS clearly is dark. If I, this is light, this is dark, my app doesn't change. So in order to get that working, you have to recompile the app using Xcode 10. So now suddenly things are dark mode. But what you can already see is that I had chosen a dark color for my label, and that dark color doesn't automatically adapt. I had just given it a static color. I shouldn't be doing that. There we go. So what I did here is, in my interface, this was previously a. So previously I had given this a the label a just as a dark color for my light Chrome application. But now if I actually change this from the default, if I just leave this on the default, it's going to use a semantic color. It's called label color. It's going to use that. When we run this, it will show as white. So instead of static colors, we are going to have to switch to using semantic colors that describe the role of what the color does instead of what the color exactly is. And then depending on where it appears, it might get a different actual RGB value. Going a little bit further, where are we now? No, sorry. That was just the building color. If I want to brand my app a certain way, for example, I'm going to use this nice orange. Oh. I built the app using Xcode 9 again. This, of course, like our designer is happy with their brand color, but when we built this in Xcode 10 again. Sorry. That was not gonna change. Oh wait, actually this is the one. There's still gonna be a brand color. Maybe in dark mode we want a different kind of brand color. So, and that is possible. For example, like this. Here I have my application. this is dark mode, this is light mode, and the label color switches. So how am I doing that? Well, I had the color here in the asset catalog. I had the color here. We have now a new section here in the right panel called Appearance, where you can select what this is for. Actually, this seems to be a bug because I cannot get this to show something different, but the label under the color swatch is correct. This says any appearance, this says dark appearance. So the dark, this is the same color asset. In dark mode, it will pick this color. In light mode, it will pick that color. This is all configurable in the interface. If I want to add an image to my app, I can, as you always do, I give it an image. We are all familiar with that. This is Xcode 9 again, so it won't show as dark mode. If we do show, run this in Xcode 10, it's just gonna show the, for some reason actually, well, let's just focus on the image. The image is still the light mode image. So what I would like to do instead is give this image the same kind of appearance. Like we have a light image, a light mode image, and a dark mode image. We can specify two completely different assets. And here we go. This works in light mode. We have a different image. Dark mode. This is light mode. This is dark mode. All right. That was this first demo. Let me. So that was dark mode in macOS. A very brief overview. Again, please refer to the WWDC sessions if you want to know more. So how does this actually work? Turns out this actually all works using a API called NSAppearance, which is an API on an NSView and a couple other classes support, such as window. And the NSAppearance, that's also what we were specifying in the asset catalog. That's where we can. That's basically the colors and images, etc. for that specific for that mode. We can use. We also saw that we have to use semantic colors. So instead of static colors with an RGB value or whatever, we give a semantic color that is the role that. Specifies the role of that color. There's a whole bunch of built-in ones, such as label color and secondary label color already. Those are from Apple, and you can add your own ones in the asset catalog. And then there's also, like, we only talked about dark mode, light mode. Now there's also a second axis of variation with accessibility and high contrast setting. I'm not going to go deeper into that, but it's there. Now, NSAppearance, that looks like UI appearance, what we know from iOS. So maybe this all works best on UI appearance. I'm not sure if there are Mac developers here, but turns out these things are completely different. NSAppearance is basically a little. This is a quote from Apple from the presentation: a little bundle containing all the colors, materials, images, and control artwork that you see across the system. And a UI appearance is more like a proxy thing that you set UI configuration on it, and then that will be that will serve as like a default style, default configuration for views, etc. that you load later. These two things are completely different. So that's clearly not how. It's not. It doesn't map one to one from NSAppearance to UI appearance. So I was looking around in the new APIs, and I actually found an old API, a UI user interface style, which has which mentions a dark style, and this is from tvOS 10, which is from 2 years ago. Are there any tvOS developers here? Looks like there are not. tvOS, this is also not tvOS love. This is still iOS love. But let's have a look at how it works on tvOS. So instead of dark mode, we have dark user interface style. Let's shorten that to dark UI style. This is the full enum. It's very simple. There's an unspecified, which is basically backwards compatibility. There's light and there's a dark case. This correlates to what the user can set in settings general appearance. They can set the appearance to light, dark, or automatic. Automatic will check your location and time and make it dark during the night and light during the day. As a tvOS developer, you can also set in your actual project settings, you can set a user interface style to override the system style. Let me briefly show you how that works. Maybe if you could, again. This can go. Alright, so I have here my super simple tvOS app. As you can see, there is basically no code here. This is a very easy presentation. Let's just run it and show you how this works. It takes a bit to load. Takes a very long time to load. This is another window. I swear I didn't do any of this when I tried this at home. Let's quit everything. Switch. Sorry about this. Alright. Let's try that again. tvOS. There's movement. There we go. So this is our app. This is again a very simple app. Here's the storyboard. It's just a view with a label in the middle. That's it. Let me show you. There's settings, general, UI appearance, and I can set that to dark. Everything becomes dark. I can go back to the app. This is the same instance that was still running, and this switched to dark mode. You can see that here the label automatically changed colors. It was dark before and now it's light. I just set it to the default, so that's the default behavior. More on that later. So how does this work? Well, there is the user interface style enum is a property of the trait collection, which is something that we can observe for changes. Right here, if I open the console, I can run this. We start and it's dark. I can go back. I can change it again from dark back to light. And here we could observe the change. For some reason it goes to light and then dark again and then light again. I'm not really sure why it's doing that. I haven't actually tested this on hardware. Maybe it's just a simulator problem. So this seems like the exact same thing as on the Apple TV, on Mac OS with dark mode. It's not quite. But it is close. So now if I, this level, what it did, like if I set that to default, it does its thing. But there is not, like in the asset catalog, we can do colors. We can check. but there's not the same appearance settings that we can specify. So we can't do much with assets. So a way around this is to use the UIApparence, and now we're back at UIApparence. We can use that to like in a light interface style, we can select light assets, and dark interface we can select dark assets. If I run this now, I have the same pretty branding colors that the designer came up with. Orange again. Orange again for the light mode, and for the dark mode, we're black at this like night shade of bluish. So yeah, that works. That was it. Let me get back to the presentation. So that's how it works on tvOS. We saw that it uses this enum to that we get from the system. This is wrapped in a UI trait collection, which then we can use in the UIApparence. We can say appearance for. We can set an appearance for a specific trait collection, and in that way specify our colors. We can do all of that using UIApparence. I'm hoping that most people are familiar with UIApparence. You do that before you load any of the view, and then all of those views, all views that that satisfy the rules of UIApparence will automatically get those configuration. I actually already gave the full demo, so let's just skip over this. So is this how it's going to work on iOS? Well, I don't know, but maybe. It does seem to give all the whole solution. It's not perfect. So how do we prepare? Well, it's not perfect. We don't have that appearance setting for catalog assets, so we'll have to work around that if we already want to get a head start. And we don't have this user interface style property on the trait collection for iOS. So you can access it, but you're never going to get that one. So we can't use that yet. How do we get around that? Well, for the appearance setting issue on the catalog, we can use namespacing and use set them for different. At least for the TV, we can use it. You can use the trait collection. On iOS, we're gonna have to go a little bit further. On the TV, we can do it once, like in application did finish launching or something like that. And but on iOS, we're gonna have to do a little bit more. We can still use the UIApparence methods. We'll have to do that dynamically. So we'll dynamically have to track what the users specified as the style inside our app. There's no system style yet, but there might be. So we have to manually track that, and then we have to apply the configuration again to the views using UIApparence. But we have to beware that views, like if you change the UIApparence when the view is already loaded, it's not just gonna get it. Views only. This quote is from the Apple's documentation. It's a little long. Views only get that configuration at when they're added to the window. Basically, what you can do, what they say is you have to remove the view from the view hierarchy and then put it back. Basically, this remove the view. So we call it remove from super view, and put it back, and we add it again, and that works perfectly. So this is what we can do right now to adopt a dark styling or dark something on iOS. I have one last demo. Very good. If you would again. So I made a quick, equally simple iOS app, again with a label and an image in the middle. I can launch this, hoping that it does work this time. Yeah, there we go. Come on, but yeah. So it launched in dark mode. We have a nice little switch that we can use to switch from dark to light mode. This is using very similar techniques. We are using everything from the catalog, but instead of the UI user interface style, I'm just doing tracking it on my own. So I just as a very brief, I created a simple style manager class that has a style. Is this big enough? Can people see this in the back? How about now? I just switch back and forth in a style, and whenever that style changes, I send a notification. Then a view controller that observes that notification will apply the style. It will apply the style using the UIApparence APIs, and then what it will do is it will do exactly what I described before. It will remove the view from the super view and add it back, and that works perfectly. The catalogs, I'm using namespace assets again. So namespacing is create a folder you set provides namespace, and then you all of these, like for example the brand color is now UI color within it named dark/brand or light/brand, and you use one or the other. That works fine. With image I did a namespace, I just call them dark and light. This is what we can do today. This is just Xcode 9.4, and which already gets us a step closer to being mostly compatible for the moment when dark mode does arrive on iOS. So if I go back, is this how it's going to be on iOS? Maybe. Let's hope it. Maybe not. And this whole talk is was redundant. But let's hope it. What do we do once it arrives? Well, we can merge those namespace assets. Like if it's a big project and it's a lot, like all of that is JSON files. So you can just script that and merge it all together. It shouldn't take very long. Maybe people who actually do it. Maybe I will actually do that. If I will write that script, I'll be sure to share that with all of you. And after that, it's a whole bunch of code removal stuff that we had to put in place in order to track changes in a custom style. We can remove all that, and hopefully it will just work as it does on macOS right now. And that was it. So thank you very much.